What's today, Johnny? What's today?
Saturday.
It's March already. Spring is finally coming, and you know what that means for my specific business and yours too. Honestly, because the sun is coming out. That means
sundresses.
Just kidding. But yeah, man, you know what it is. It's PDX Biz Talk, the Portland business podcast, man, where we talk to real business owners and have real business conversations. Of course, man. You know me by now. I really hope you would know me by now. If this is your first episode, welcome to the show. And my name is Zeke Jones, man, the owner of Aeon Visual as well as hip hop artist Young Mill. Of course, I got my boy Johnny Hernandez here,
Yep.
Entrepreneur extraordinaire.
Not yet, one day.
You know us too, but we also have a special guest today.
We do.
You know what it is, man. We got our boy Jared in the house. What's going on, man?
Yes, sir.
Welcome to the show. We're here at Highline right now, Highline Motors, man.
Highline Motors.
So tell us a little bit about yourself and like what business you do, what problem you solve, bro.
Highline Motors is essentially, we're an independent used car dealership. We started back in toward the very end of 2018, and I started it from my garage in Staten.
Oh, wow.
Whoa.
And I had this like oversized 2-car garage, and I was like, man, what can I do with this 2-car garage?
Yeah.
So I was in the car business at the time. I started basically right when I turned 18, and then kind of progressed my way up. And I got a job position up at a luxury car store in Tigard. And that's where I learned to develop a lot of the skills that kind of like led me to this.
Right.
So I learned a lot how to value a car, how to buy a car, the whole sales process from start to finish. And then obviously all the other stuff that comes in all that. And I'm sure we'll probably get into that.
Did you have an influence on that though? Getting into the car industry? Did you have any friends growing up? Any of the homies? Any mentors?
I did. Yeah. I had one friend that was a salesperson at Capital Auto Group. And he's like, dude, you would be so good in sales. Like, you should just do it. And I was working construction at the time right after high school.
Oh, wow.
And
Pretty good money, though, I'm guessing, right?
No.
No? All I hear is construction, so I figured,
No, you're like 18 years old and you're a laborer. They pay you like...
Oh, okay.
Right. Yeah. So you're just getting in the door.
But it was fun. So what happened was I was working construction, and at the time, like, construction was so up and down.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you would work 60 hours a week, and then there was weeks that I just didn't work.
Well, of course.
And so they wanted you to be an apprentice in school. So I looked into some of that, and the whole reason that I didn't want to go to college was because I didn't want to go to school. So
I don't blame you there.
Yeah. So it was so up and down, and income just wasn't consistent. And I was living on my own at the time. I'd already moved out. And so I was like, well, I need to figure out a new job. Mm-hmm. And so my dumb self, I was talking to my landlord. I was like, yeah, work's not going so great. And she's like, well, like, you need to pay rent. So
was it a house or was it an apartment?
I split a house with a few of my friends.
Okay.
So it was like, we were paying like $400 or $500 each or something like that.
Yeah. Around how old were you around that time?
I was 18.
Still 18.
Fresh.
Gotcha.
Fresh out of high school.
And so she's like, well, I have a friend in the car industry. Like, you can go interview there and just talk. And I was like, okay, cool. So I showed up and I bought a nice button up and tie and everything. I'd never wore a tie in my life. And so I went to this interview and I talked to him, and I was expecting to be like a lot attendant or something. Yeah. And he's like, no, we're going to stick you in sales over at
immediately in sales.
Over at a Mazda store. So I started off my car business journey at a Mazda store, worked there for a few months, and then kind of jumped a little bit. But I was primarily learned all these skills was from that store in Tigard. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I was there for almost 4 years. And I dealt with the process from start to finish. I was the sales and consignment manager up there. Mm-hmm. So we had like 80 vehicles at a time, and usually like 25% of those were consignments. So I managed all of those, and I helped people get signed up for that, manage their listings, and figure out what we should sell it for. Mm. And so like halfway through my time there, I was like, why don't I just do this myself?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. So I was like, well, I'm going to get my dealer's license. So I got my dealer's license, and I just got it set up at my house in Staten. I just bought my first 2 cars and flipped those.
Was it always Highline? Like, that was the name you started out with? Or was it something else?
No, dude. I've been through like 3 names, I think. So first it was Outdoor Motorsports. Okay. Because I flipped a lot of ATVs too.
So you wanted to do like,
kind of built it up.
So I flipped ATVs. trailers. And
that's a good name though.
Cars and trucks.
Yeah, that's a pretty good
dude.
name.
I was like, it's versatile. I was like, we can sell jet skis, we can do whatever.
Right.
And then I was like, dude, there's no money in freaking trailers and ATVs and all that stuff. So I just stuck to cars and trucks. So it was Outdoor Motorsports. Then it was like West Coast Motor Company, and then finally it was Highline Motors.
Did you make all those named LCs or no?
Yeah.
So each one of them was an LC. Yeah.
So he took each one serious.
Yeah,
Okay,
for sure. I did.
That's great.
Yeah. So, but yeah, Highline Motors. When our first like main location that wasn't at my house was when we got the lot out in Brooks, and it was just a big gravel lot. I found the ad on Craigslist, and it was like $1,500 a month, and I was like, well, if I can sell one car a month,
right,
then I can make rent.
So when you first started the first Highline, like the first stages of it, what kind of upfront investment did that take other than the lot?
I had DMV fees, right? The DMV fees and all that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, there was obviously like DMV paperwork
Yeah.
isn't cheap, and the Odo forms and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I mean, like your dealer's license was $1,200, and then you got to buy inventory
And bonding insurance.
and bonded insurance and all that stuff. And insurance isn't too bad when you're small. You know, it's like a couple $100 a month or whatever. But I started with $1,000, and so after paying all the dealer fees, they were like, I went to go open the business account, and they're like, you need to have $1,000 to put in this account.
It's like you need a little bit more to get this off the ground.
I was like, shit, man. So I put $1,000 in there, and then just, obviously kind of just grow from there.
So when you started all this, did you have somebody after you started the business? Did you have somebody that you met that was already like successful in the industry that you pretty much kind of mentor, like a mentor at all?
I would say the mentor that I had was my boss that I had up at Luxury.
Okay.
Because he kind of in a way like took me under his wing, and he kind of showed me the skills. So I don't think I would probably be where I'm at today if I hadn't gotten that opportunity with him.
Right.
So I'm extremely thankful for that. But yeah, he kind of just took me under, and he brought me to the auction, and he's like,
dope.
he's like, bid on this car, and I was like, I was standing in the lane like afraid to raise my hand, So that I learned to buy cars that way. I got the auction experience, and so that was pretty cool.
And you learn all the business side of things too from him, or did you learn on your own as you went?
I learned a lot of it on my own, but I did learn a lot. You learn a lot like from working other places, right? Like you learn about like good and the bad. Like if you've worked for places, you're like, man, I wouldn't do that way, So I kind of took that and just ran with it, and so that I just kind of portray that onto my business, and I just kind of do things my way.
Of course.
So yeah.
So at that job, what do you think was like some of the most valuable skills you took from it to put into your own situation?
Valuable skills. I think overall just knowing the process of it, because I mean anyone can get a dealer's license and start a car dealership, right? It doesn't, start it small and then grow it big, but not everyone gets to that point. Not everyone gets that big, and we're definitely not even there yet either. But I think it's just like perfecting the process and just trying to do the best you can to make sure that your inventory is in good shape, mechanically, safety, everything. And then just making sure that the customer's taken care of after, because that's the biggest thing, right? You buy a car. I mean, dealerships are like the most hated business.
Yeah. Some people think they're shiesty, man. It's
Dude,
like you sell the car, and then that's the end of the relationship. Like, get this guy out of here.
Exactly. And I mean, we've sold hundreds of cars now, and I still retain a lot of those relationships to this day, and that they come back and buy cars, or they refer customers to me, and
that's how it should be.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah, so I think it's just a process, treating people right. But I think knowledge is a huge thing.
Yeah, it is.
So
you sell cars. Are there any? What kind of other services do you provide?
So we just recently, like a year and a half ago, we jumped into like auto detailing. So a good friend of mine, an employee, his name's Tyler. He was like my main detailer, and he detailed all of our inventory.
Right.
And I did it prior, so I know how much I didn't like it.
Yeah.
And so I brought him on, and I previously had worked with him at another dealership, and he was the detailer there. And so I was like, well, he's got some detailing experience, so he could definitely help me. And so I brought him on, and he just did all of our inventory, and everything looked really good. And then one day he's like, why don't we just like offer this retail? I was like, oh no, I don't know about that. And then I come to think of it, I'm like, that actually might not be a bad idea.
Yeah.
So we launched Highline Auto Detail, and he helped with a lot of that. He does like a lot of the posting that we do on our page. Like,
I see that, yeah.
He's like working and taking a video at the same time, you know? So he does a lot of that stuff. But he kind of introduced that, and we kind of just like hit it with the ground running, dude. I mean, we just market it the best we can. We did events at IFO where we did giveaways for ceramic coatings, and so that did really well. So it's still growing. Obviously, it's still really new, but now we do general detailing, we do ceramic coating, paint protection film, window tint, paint corrections, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
So, and we've hit like every like major category so far. I mean, we just PPF J Boogie's Raptor R, and then you know, we
big
did
job.
Yeah, it's a huge job
Right off the bat too.
Yeah, right off the bat. And then we've done everything from like an old Resto Mod Chevy pickup. We did a complete. It was an at-home paint job, and there was overspray and everything, and we had to wet sand the entire truck.
Sounds like fun.
Yeah. So we underbid that job, so that was a huge learning curve.
Sometimes
but
you have to though.
You have to, yeah. And so it was cool though, because Tyler got in on that job, and another guy, Steve Kenyon, that's like a legend here in Salem with paint correction, and he helped us with that job and got it knocked out. But yeah, we're always learning. So
when you first started the dealership and then the detailing, like what was the most challenging part when you first started everything? Like, was it like getting the clients? Was it getting the business name? Was it doing the logo? Did you even care about the logo and branding at first when you first started?
At first, I did. Yeah, at first,
Okay.
you know, I was like, because I want something that
Exactly.
I want something that not everybody has. Like, so I kind of juggled some ideas around for the logo, and I didn't want something that like everybody had.
Yeah.
I kind of wanted to separate it, and so that's where we got like the Highline H with the car in the front. So I haven't really seen anything like that. So I was like, that's pretty sweet. So we went ahead and just ran with that. But yeah, I don't know. I just, you know, so far I think right now we're just like fighting time. You know, it's still new. It's still new. Yeah. So I mean, there's going to be struggles that come up, but I mean, as far as like, you know, I don't really know that we've hit anything major yet. So
Yeah, man. Well, at least you're building your team and you're expanding that. You're offering different services.
Yeah.
And at a very good pace too.
Exactly.
Yeah, I feel like we're moving at a pretty good pace.
Yeah,
So
you are.
Yeah, man. I think that's kind of important. Like when you start to build your team, that they can fill those roles that you kind of don't want to do anymore, that you can't do, but they do it. They excel. You know what I mean? I think that's super, super key when it comes to running a business.
Exactly.
Because other's you're just going to get burnt out. You know what I mean? And then that can happen very quickly.
I still feel like that sometimes.
Yeah, I feel you, bro.
So,
And what was some good advice that somebody gave you when you started out, or when you met some other business owners that along the way? Anything that you took from anybody that you said, okay, and I gotta change this, or maybe they told you, hey, you should change this and this and that?
one thing that really stuck with me when I started, and I was out in the gravel lot out in Brooks, and I was talking with Sterling, and he was like, you know, if it costs you $1,500 to not have your name run around town about how much of a, you know, POS you are, you know, just fork out the $1,500 and just do it. And so I took that. I'm like, okay, that's not bad advice. And so like, I mean, like literally a week later, I sold this Infinity, and I had no idea, but the car ran great and everything. Come to find out, one of the wheels was cracked. I was like, okay, no problem. I was like, I'll find the wheel online, order it, no big deal.
Yeah.
No, the wheels are discontinued. You gotta buy a whole new set of 24s, dude. Yeah, it was like $2,500, and I had probably like $3,000 in my bank account. So but it was not on the customer; it was on me. I sold her the car, and so I was like, "We're gonna get you some new wheels." You know, learn from your mistakes and move on.
And it's better to take care of that customer.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
How valuable do you think that was? Like, how much money do you think you could have lost if you didn't do that?
Yeah,
right?
exactly. And it just morally, like deep down, like, you know, she probably could have gone a lot of places, and they were gonna be like, "Sorry, you bought it as is," because it was as is.
Yeah.
But you just have to. You gotta be willing to help out. You know what I mean? I mean, like, it's a business, and a lot of people understand that, but I also kind of have like a thing where if the customer like drives off a lot and they immediately have an issue, I mean, I know you bought it as is, but I at least want to know about it, right? I don't want you to go out and be like blasting me on Facebook like this, you know?
Because it's cool to know about it, because just in case your next car that you sell, you might want to look for that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. And like I said, that's what I mean. You just like, you learn every single day. Like every car that goes out the door, I mean, we all make mistakes.
Yeah.
A lot of them that we can't help, especially with the used car market. You buy a used car, it's really, really hard to tell what's going to happen after you deliver it.
Yeah.
So, but you just got to cover your bases. You got to cover yourself and make sure that you take care of the customer, because they're doing you a service and they're doing business with you, and they're going to remember that you took care of them. You know
Plus
what I mean?
word of mouth businesses.
Yeah. And we get a ton of it. We have we have a huge support system, dude. So
That's good.
you know, it goes a long ways. If you've got someone that you know and you do them dirty, like, they're gonna be like, well, that doesn't sound like Jared, you know?
Right.
So
Exactly.
I don't know. Just I try to take care of everybody within reason.
Yeah,
So
for sure. Because I know a lot of entrepreneurs, like some people view business owners are just people who are thinking about money all the time. It's just like greedy, you know what I'm saying?
They're all
But, like,
millionaires, dude.
exactly.
That's it.
But there's something that a lot of people forget, is that we actually care about our customers first and foremost, and that's pretty much what drives a lot of people's businesses. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
So like for you, is there anything in customer service that you clinged on to, or maybe you had an experience, you went to go buy something from somebody and you had a horrible customer service experience? Was there anything like that kind of stuck with you that you knew you're never going to let happen?
I mean, I've bought cars from other car dealerships, and I've like bought them on empty tanks of gas, and I've bought them and had issues, and they're like, "Oh, you didn't buy a warranty? Sorry." You know what I mean? It's like, okay, dude, you know,
That's wild.
yeah, it's wild. It's a crazy game, dude. Like used cars are just like I
Do
said.
you think it's those big name brands that do that usually, compared to like the used dealership? Because usually
No, it's all of them, dude.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, and that's why I think dealerships get such a bad rep, is because there is a good handful of them that are doing it for the money, or you know, they're doing it obviously to get by or whatever. They're just slinging cars. They're not building a business. They're just slinging cars.
Yeah.
And so
They're building a long time thing.
No, it's going to be super short lived, and they're not going to have a client base or a customer base to stand behind them, you know, when stuff like that happens. So
Right. Speaking of having people kind of like stand behind you, are there any certain kind of like methods that you use? Maybe it's social media, maybe it's this or that, to kind of advertise your business and show people who you really are?
I make it a really important point to make posts and post. That's why like every car that we sell, we'll post on our Facebook or Instagram, like, you know, that we sold you a car, and they kind of like it too. They're like, oh heck yeah, I'll take a picture in front of my new car,
right?
You know? So they like that stuff, and then obviously like our whole following gets to see it on Facebook. They're like, oh man, heck yeah, like Jared's still in business. You know what I mean?
It shows that you're still active too.
Yeah, it's like we're still active. So being active is very, very important, and I think a lot of businesses aren't super active on that aspect of things, and I think that. I don't know what it is. I don't know if maybe it's like a generation thing, you know what I mean? But I mean, it wasn't super important back then. There's businesses been around for 20 years that they're not as active, but it's because they've been around for so long. You know what I mean? But it's super important for people like us to be able to stay active on Instagram and Facebook.
I agree, man. Because a lot of times when businesses get to a certain level, that word of mouth really just keeps it going and fuels it for so long that you don't really have to reach out to or go too far outside of what is already happening. But I think with today's day and age, like social media, man, if you really want to keep growing, bro, it's such an easy tool for you to use to just expand.
It's probably the best tool.
As long as you're consistent too. You can't just post here and there. You have to be consistent.
Exactly. I say easy, but it's not easy unless you do it. You know what I mean? If you don't do
I mean, like, you know, your whole doing detailing, you know, you have a lot of content you can take, you know, daily.
Oh, there's tons of content.
Yeah,
I mean, there's more.
you know?
There's more content on the detailing side than the dealership side for sure.
But it's also hard remembering taking that content, taking that before picture and then after picture, and then
that's why I'm
because you want to get that done. You know,
Right.
you guys might do it. You know, or you guys might not do it because it's not their job to do that. You
That's
know?
true, man. And
So
they're
I'm-
focused on just getting a good job done, you know?
Yep. That's why I'm extremely thankful for Tyler, because he's really good at that. He's really good at making sure that we get like before and afters of some really crappy details. But also like the big job before and afters too. So people want to see that. They want to see your work before they just dump thousands of dollars into your business.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
They want to see who you are, especially Google reviews too matter a lot.
Yep. Google reviews are huge. Yeah,
for that organic reach.
we've been pushing that. We've been pushing that really hard too, and I think it's really important to ask for it. I think a lot of people are like afraid to ask for reviews. But I'm like, dude, did a service for you. Just ask them how it was. If they could post it online, I mean, more than likely they're gonna make a review. You know?
A lot of times they're super excited. They're like, bro, I was already thinking that.
Yeah, exactly. And there's businesses that have been around for like 15 years that I go online. I'm just like, I just look them up.
Barely have anything.
I'm like, dude, you got like 30 reviews.
Yeah, crazy, right?
Yeah.
You know,
Years and skin in the game with no reviews.
Just like, you know, so I don't know. I think it's really important for people like us to do that, to ask for reviews and basically like, you know, build it that way. I mean, people want to see that you do good stuff.
And it's not hard to ask for reviews. Like I'm not sure about you, but what we do is every time we click completely on the card, they'll get the text message the day after to remind them, hey, thank you for your service, or thank you for coming.
Yep.
And then please leave a review. And then we send them a link.
Yeah, so we have one that sends after we complete it. It sends the next day at 7 p.m.
Same thing. Yeah. Okay.
So we send them. I send them in the evening.
Follow up.
Yeah, it's follow up. I send them in the evening because by that time, hopefully they're off work, they're chilling on their couch or making dinner or something. And they get this text and they're like, "Oh yeah, that's right." And then, you know,
I forgot about it because sometimes people forget. They leave. They have things to do.
Yeah, or they'll send them. I think the biggest thing's timing too.
Yeah.
I mean, you send it at like 3 o'clock. Like they're at work and then they're gonna forget about it later.
They might look at it real quick.
It might get buried in their inbox. They're busy too, you know.
Yeah,
Family.
and so there'll be nights that I'm here like, you know, between 7 and 8 o'clock, and sometimes I'll just sit down and I'll just send out the text on the dealership side since it's not automated, and I'll just thank them. Just thank them for their, you know, thank them for stopping by and doing business with us, and if they could leave a review, you know, I mean, it goes a long ways. So
you can also offer them like a half off detail. You know what I'm saying, for your
50% off a car. Yeah.
The stuff that you sold, you know, like the stuff that you sold over there, offer like some kind of express detail, something quick, you know.
Yeah. No, I remember you talking to me about that, doing like a free wash or something like that. So it's not a bad idea.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea. I mean, it gets them in the door, and then you never know what you could upsell them on.
Yeah,
exactly. Do you guys do any kind of like video production, like promotions or anything like that? Ads, video ads, or just little promo stuff?
Every once in a while. I had a video promo guy for a little while, and he did really, really good work for us. I just couldn't find it. It just didn't make sense at the time. We were coming into a really hard time of year. And so we were strapped, dude. But he put out some really, really good content for us. And so we use that. And so we'll probably look more into that closer to spring, summertime, once revenue picks up a little bit. Because it did make a difference in just, like we were talking about, just having content for Instagram and Facebook and something for people to watch and go to your page and you know, view your service in a pretty cool view. So,
you should have one like you should have a video, or have your guy do a video of your guys getting the van ready and going out to him doing a job. Dude, I haven't seen that yet.
Really?
Locally.
Yeah. So we did a pretty cool one with the van. It was like right when we got it, and we did a pretty sweet Supra. It was like a newer Supra. And we made this super cool video, and I remember we did it in like this church parking lot. And this guy came out and he was super pissed. He's like, "This is private property." I was like,
old timer.
Yeah, old timer. Yeah. And so I don't know if he thought we were like shooting a music video or something, but we were like doing a maintenance wash on the outside of the Supra in this church parking lot, and he came out like swearing at us.
Oh my goodness.
Like, you know, Jesus Christ wouldn't want you to do that. You know.
Yeah, I think I think a cool video will be for you to do is like having the guy put everything in the van here, let's say, and then you get the phone call, the customer's ready, and then you go take it and like do dope drone footage, everything going, and you pull up to the house, knock on the door, customer, you know what I'm saying? Like,
that's a good idea.
That'll be dope idea, so customer or people can see, be like, okay, that's dope. Like, they actually go to people's houses.
That's a good idea.
Because people know about detailing like mobile, but they haven't really visually see it.
That's true.
That's how they do it.
Yeah, we've got a few mobile maintenance guys that we go out doing like on a regular basis. I think I kind of use it as more like a billboard.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just because it just doesn't generate a ton of money, but it does generate a lot of, you know, people get to see it, the van, and they're like, "What the heck is that?" Like, that's pretty sweet, you know, because we got it on wheels and tires and a sweet wrap. And, but yeah, that's a pretty good idea. Actually.
I mean, you know, because
think of all the stuff we used to do, like at the beginning of Epic, bro, just covering.
That was wild.
All kind of videos, bro. Just
So you started from your trunk, didn't you?
Yeah.
What'd you have? What was your
BMW 325 high?
325?
Yeah, bro.
Something basic, bro. Like it was 06. It was 06. My mom has that car now. But I started from there, and I just used Craigslist to just I kind of bullshitted people. I said I'm going to school. I'm doing detailing to get money for business because I want to own my own detail company.
Look where you're at now.
But I was
Hey,
like,
what?
but then I was like, I don't even need that. You know, I don't need school. But anyway,
No.
yeah. So I used Craigslist before. It cost $5 to post anything.
That's true.
Yeah.
Now it costs $5 to post even a service. You know.
Well, now and then Facebook Marketplace flooded, and now you just get the typical Facebook Marketplace replies. I can't stand that.
It's
just not
just
cool.
scams too, and then you get those weird ass emails from Craigslist about, and then people are like, "Oh, I can do your logo for you."
I can do
So like, I already have a logo. I don't need a logo.
Like,
we've gotten like 3 texts in the last 2 days about. We get these texts and they're like, "Do you do ceramic coatings?" I'm like, "Oh, okay. This guy's interested."
I was like, "Yeah, me too."
This guy's
Yeah, I know what you're talking
interested in ceramic coating.
Right.
And I was like, "Oh yeah, we do this," and he's like, "I just worked with GG Auto Detailing, and I can generate $10,708 a month extra for free." And it's like, oh my god,
I get those so many,
like marketing emails.
And then you go to
bro.
their profile too. I get that on Instagram. You go to the profile, they have nothing related to their business.
Yep.
I hate
like
when
one or two
I hate when
pictures.
they see like we'll post something and then they'll reach out to me and they're like, "Bro, we can help you do video services." I'm like, "Did you even read? Did you even bro? Like,
did you research?
Yeah.
Like, did you like
It's just automated.
like yeah, bro? It's kind of outrageous, honestly. So you've had a lot of success so far. Like, how long have you even been in business? Like,
Well, I guess Highline legally has been in business for almost 3 years. Obviously, I started outdoor motorsports or whatever back in the end of 2018. So I've been going like full board at it for almost 3 years.
Oh, okay.
So and then I think I still had my full-time job when I started it because obviously gotta have money to live,
of course.
and at the time we just had my wife and I just had our daughter, and she was like 2 months old when I decided to just like do this full time.
Yeah, just make that jump.
Yeah, dude. So that was the most stressful thing because I asked her, I was like, this is what I want to do. I think I can do it full time. If I put all my time into this, I think I can do it.
How'd she feel about that?
She's like, if you think you can do it, go for it.
That's dope.
That's a
You
great
know?
answer.
Dude, I was like, man, okay. Ended up quitting my job and bought like 10 cars.
Just off
And
rip.
just stuffed the lot full. Yeah. And so and especially at that point, I made sure to post like, just started Highline, we're a car dealership, and I already had a pretty good following of friends too that knew I was in the car business. So they were like stoked to see that I started something. And they're like, heck yeah, good for you. So I had people hit me up and they're like, hey, I'm looking for this car. So I'd search out, I'd be on the auction, I'd be like trying to find all kinds of stuff, dude. And it's a lot harder than it sounds.
Yeah.
Like
It's something that's worth actually pursuing and selling to somebody.
for
right?
real. Yeah. And so I remember people being like, hey, I'm looking for this Chevy Silverado. And I'm like, man, there's a million Chevy Silverados. So I'm like, well, what color? What's all this? And when you're looking, it's so hard because you don't want to just buy a truck and then be like, I actually found one over at Capitol, and then you're stuck with this Chevy
You're stuck with
Silverado.
the-
And you're like, great, okay.
Exactly.
So I really tried to just buy stuff that I knew I could sell, whether they were going to buy it or not. I've had some people be like, hey, I've got this much to spend, and I've called them like when I've been watching the auction, and I'm like, hey, the bid's at this, and they're like, oh, okay. So
Yeah.
I've done a couple like that, but it's just stressful. So I try to buy stuff at my own pace that I know I can resell, that I know is going to be clean. It's got a good condition report. So that worst case, if it gets here and they're like, I don't really like it, then I can still find a home for it.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
For somebody who's not in the field or like they're new to the field, is that something that commonly happens? Like, do people reach out to you and be like, I want this, and you track it down?
All the time.
For real?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I
All the
never
time.
realized that.
All the time.
Do you take like some kind of deposit first though? At least just in case.
At first, no. No, at first.
What about now?
First, no, I don't.
Safety net.
I still think to this day, I still don't do that a lot. I think it kind of like drilled into my brain, because you could still take a deposit and it shows up. If they don't want to buy the truck, they're not going to buy the truck.
Right.
And
You get to keep the deposit though.
see, I'm not all about just taking people's money.
It's not even taking people's money. It's your time.
I know it's time, but I still like.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just don't have that gut in me. I think I just don't. Like the detailing side of things. Like if you give me money up front and you don't use it, like whether it be a gift card or we do a deal or you pay for it or whatever, like you're still going to get that service, or you're going to get your money's worth somehow. You know what I
Right.
mean? But you know, most of the time when I do deposits on the dealership side because we get a ton of out of state customers.
Yeah.
And you know, we'll fly in and they'll fly in, we'll pick them up from PDX or whatever. But most of the time, if someone gives you like $500 to $1,000, they're not just going to ghost you. You know
Yeah,
what I
they
mean?
won't, yeah.
The only time that I'm going to keep that deposit is if I just never hear from you again.
Yeah,
So
that makes sense.
and it goes back to like the $1,500 rule, dude. Like, you know, are you really going to have your name, you know,
Yeah.
Yeah,
squashed because you took this dude's $500 and he didn't even buy anything from you?
literally.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so,
that's a good point.
Yeah. So I, you know, $500, it sounds weird. $500 is $500, but like, you know, you're going to make that some other way.
Yeah.
Don't just like take this dude's money. He could be using that for something else.
Right. It's probably good for you to have like a vision for what you want to sell to, because
Yeah.
I'm sure you probably worked your taste over the years to know what people are going to want, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And you know, we kind of tailor that market for vehicles that people are actively looking for.
Right.
You know, we do a lot of nice looking 4Runners, lifted Jeeps, lifted trucks, sports cars, specialty vehicles. I mean, we sell like a little bit of everything. And so most of the time, if it's something that we have here, it's something that you're looking for on Car Gurus or Auto Trader or something like that.
Yeah.
So I try not to pack my lot full of like stock Camrys and Corollas. And
Yeah, for
stuff,
sure.
stuff like that.
What does somebody who runs a dealership drive?
Gosh, here we go,
You know what I
dude.
mean?
Well, for the longest time, I did not drive a Porsche. For the longest time, I drove a 2003 Power Stroke, and you know, I was like, well, no car payments, low overhead, not gonna worry about it. And then business kicked up, and so I bought a Mercedes C63S. Freaking love that car. Probably one of my favorite cars
Yeah,
I've ever owned.
That's when I love that car. Bro.
Dude, I love that thing so much. And then we just sold it, so that was kind of sad. But yeah, now I drive a 2015 911 GT3.
Yeah.
And
Which is back there.
Yeah.
on the
it
camera.
is back there. It's looking pretty good.
What color was it originally?
It's white.
It's white. I remember now. Yeah, I know you
dope.
got it. That wrap
Yeah.
sick.
What would you call that rap color?
It's called Coral Peach.
Coral Peach.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a
Yeah,
perfect name.
Yeah, by Tech Wrap. Yeah.
And you take that out to rally, right?
I'm gonna rally it this year.
Oh wait, your first rally.
Yeah, yeah.
Last year you did rally.
Last year-
and it was the rally name. What was the rally?
Longtail.
Name? Longtail.
Yep,
That's what it
Longtail.
was.
Yep. So that was pretty cool. We rallied the Mercedes last year, and oh, dude, that was a trip. Oh,
And now you're taking this thing now.
now I'm taking that, dude. Yeah,
That's
it's gonna be
sick.
nuts. Well, I remember like the fastest guy on the rally. Like, I mean, the dude that was just like the first one there was in a GT3. His name is James, and I was like, I didn't really realize how cool the car was until I got back. And I was like, dude,
I want one.
I want one.
You got one.
Yeah. So, but I talked to a lot of guys. I really wanted a McLaren. I really wanted a 570. I drove test drove a 600 LT.
Yeah.
And that broke me, dude.
Really?
It broke me, dude.
You're
I was like, oh,
what
God.
am I gonna do with this?
Yeah.
That's more like a race car. You
Oh,
know?
dude,
the
yeah.
McLaren is more like flashy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still a
Yeah.
fast car, but
Yeah, I mean,
at the end of
that's
the day,
that 911 is probably like the best handling
yeah,
car.
best handling. Yep, exactly.
I hear
So-
a lot of good stuff about 911.
Dude, and it's like bulletproof.
Oh, yeah.
So
No issues like McLaren's. Maybe
less issues. Less issues.
There we go. Yeah,
Less
less issues. Still a Porsche.
Yeah, still a Porsche.
So with your business, what with this, how do you want to expand it? Like, how do you see your vision in the next 5 to 10 years when it comes to the dealership and the detail?
5 to 10 years, hopefully I'm not working as much.
Yeah.
I run the sales and finance side, so I mean,
wow.
I
You
do
do everything.
everything. So as far as like the car dealership side, it's just me.
Yeah.
So like if incoming lead calls, it goes to my phone, it goes to my email.
Do you have no office person for you? Just you're the office person?
Brittany does my title work.
That's
Yeah, she comes in every once in a while, but no, I don't have no office. No.
that's wild.
Is that something that you want?
sides. Oh yeah, dude, please. Yeah, if you're looking, if you're out there and you want a job,
Please email.
Please email.
Highline.
dude. Yeah,
No, but yeah, that's gonna be important for you to get that team.
yeah. You know, in 5 to 10 years, I'm hoping that we obviously have a little bit bigger space where we can expand inventory. Right now, we've got like 20 to 25. I'd like to get it to like 50.
Yeah.
I'd like to get it to 50 and maybe sell 30, 35 cars a month, and have just a small, tight knit sales team that, you know, is, you know, obviously hungry to be successful and, you know, maybe learn a little bit more about the car business and the finance side of things. Maybe give like a younger kid that's in sales the opportunity to learn the same things that I did, You know what I mean?
Yeah. Are you gonna have them do like from A to Z, from everything from the sales to financing? You're gonna have a whole separate.
I fully believe in the one person.
I think that'd be dope. Yeah,
sales thing.
That's better for me.
Yeah, you know,
in my opinion.
Like you go buy a car at another car dealership, you got a sales guy, and then you got a finance guy, then you got a GSM, and he's like, "Well, let me go talk to the desk and see if I can give you $50 more for your trade." You know, and it's like, dude, if you've got one person to work that whole thing, you've got a relationship built with that customer now. And so if you can train them to do that, obviously there's more money in it for the sales guy.
Yeah, because financing,
he can make a little money on the back end and that whole thing. But I just think it's overall better for the entire business structure. The customer feels a lot better about it. And, you know, you're not like running back and forth to the desk and with papers and Foursquare.
Foursquare. That's what happened to me when I went to Wilson's Mercedes and I bought my E-Class. It was like 3 different people to talk to buy one car.
Well, I'll never understand, dude, is they'll give you a Foursquare and it'll be like, all right, your payments, $698 at like 14.99%. You're like,
this is down payment.
You know, I'm like a 812 beacon. Why is my interest rate 15%? So I don't know. It's, you know, every dealership operates differently. We're smaller, so you know, I get the opportunity to run things my way, and that's just how I do it. You know what I mean? I shoot people straight. I think people appreciate that. I'm not going to give them the runaround.
Yeah, of course, straightforward. Yeah,
straightforward. Yeah.
And when you say financing, you couldn't finance nothing, or you couldn't finance nobody right off the bat, right? You have to be like in business for a certain amount of years, and then you were able to finance somebody through Cuddle. Yeah,
so financing was a struggle bus for a long time, dude. It was building connections with local banks and credit unions. We had really good relationships with like OCCU and Oregon State Credit Union and Central Willamette Credit Union, that I would just like take customer applications and email them to the branch manager and was like, hey, can you work on this deal and get them financed? And I built a good enough relationship where when I sent the email, they usually get a response like that day or the next.
That's good. That's cool.
And so that's what got you started. But yeah, you can't get on the Cuddle platform.
What's Cuddle platform exactly?
It's credit union direct lending. So it's the platform that basically gives you access to 30, 40 different credit unions and banks that are in your local area to get customers finance. And it's like,
so instead of you going individual banks, you send it to one thing and does it for you.
Yep, and it's all electronic. So you just basically fill in all their information. You'll get auto approvals if they're already auto approved, or you'll get a response like within 10 minutes.
Damn. So that way you can still close the deal on the spot.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, and we don't really have like a waiting area. And so it's like, well, let's wait like an hour for the bank to get back to us and see, you know, what's it going to look like. And then you've got no control over that side because the bank's not going to share their information with you. So because it's all confidential stuff. Over Cuddle, I've got access to all that, and we basically have all of our bases checked, so we get like instant access to everything.
Yeah, so which is pretty good. It's really good to have that tool, right?
It is probably it's the most vital tool, dude. Yeah,
because people don't come finance already.
No, I mean, people, you know, some people will get pre-approved from their bank beforehand, and I mean, I strongly encourage that, you know, just so that you don't go into a dealership blind and they try to set you up with something stupid. But I mean, dealerships don't make anything, or they don't get any kind of like a return, at least as far as I know, for like marking a rate up. Like you don't get paid any kind of like reserve or anything for marking their rate up. You're just like doing them a bad service by giving them a higher rate. So, but the cool thing about Cuddle is they pay you on points. So if we finance a $50,000 truck and they pay like a 2% reserve, then, you know, if they finance 50 grand, then you're making a pretty good amount of money and just reserve. And that's just for doing the financing. It's like a little bonus.
Wow. Yeah, it's a little kickback.
Yeah,
like
a little kickback. Business, and if you do 15 cars a month, you know, that's pretty good money.
So Cuddle, is that something that's kind of harder to get in a relationship with?
It was hard.
What's the requirements?
So you gotta be 2 years in business, and we stretched that a little bit. You gotta have, when I was doing it, you gotta have like $3 million in gross sales annually, and then you gotta have a physical location, obviously, that is presentable. It can't be gravel or anything like that. You gotta have a lockable office. And then you have to have a certain amount of vehicles that are under 100,000 miles and financeable. Because they want you to obviously finance nice stuff. I mean, that's why
it's gonna last. Yeah,
it's gonna last. Yeah, and you can't really get financing on cars that are over it's harder to get financing for cars that are like over 100 or 150 or 200,000 miles. Like a bank's just not going to finance it
because they're already on the way out.
Yeah.
So you get a kickback from that, but do you also get some kind of kickback from offering gap insurance? Because you bought it, because as far as I know, dealerships buy it at a wholesale price, and you can retail it.
You buy it at a wholesale price, and then you retail it. It's pretty standard across the board, like what you can retail it for.
You can't go overboard.
Yeah, you can't go overboard. No, it's got to be a certain amount, and usually the cap's like $1,000 or something like that. So, and then the same thing, well, I mean, warranties are kind of free game, but you got to be within reason, right? I mean, you're not gonna. I mean, there's finance guys that probably just pack it on, but we just have like a standard markup on ours, and if you want to buy it, great. If you don't, well, the full disclosure, you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
So, but we highly encourage it, just because
you never know.
You never know.
Yeah.
You never know.
And what else can you add onto the loan? Can you do can your dealership sell a ceramic coating protecting thing and add it onto the loan? Yeah, depending on
the approval and depending on like what your limit is, you can. I mean, you could, you could finance in your PPF or your ceramic coating or window tint if you want to do window tint. I mean, you could. It's like unlimited options, and that's kind of the beauty of like having both sides of the business. And a lot of our detailing side is fed by the dealership side, and that's a lot of how we're making the money that we're on that side.
So every time we sell one, you offer coating?
Yeah.
Do you have some kind of like brochure or flyer yet?
I kind of have stuff just placed around the office, but they kind of like walk into a detail bay. So
I see what you're saying.
They kind of ask about it. And they, usually we're like working on a project in here or something, so they can see. And then, I try to go over that with everybody and just let them know what we do. And then if they don't do it, you're like, hey, well, in the future, you decide you want to do it, just give me a call and I'll hook you up. I'll give you a sweet deal. And it's
crazy how like dealership owners can make so many different streams of income from one sale. Like then you have the sale of the truck, whatever it is, the profit. Then you have the profit from the warranty, from the gap, from the kickback from the insurance.
Yeah, there's front end and back end, dude.
That's wild. No wonder they're out here balling.
Yeah,
right.
Shit. No wonder.
Big Porsche whipping.
Over sometimes here eating steakhouse every day. I've seen some of you out there.
So what do you think is like your favorite part about being an entrepreneur? I mean, aside from the money, that is.
I think it's just having control over what goes on and what happens and being able to do it your way. If you work for somebody else, you don't really have control.
You have nothing. And there's a cap.
There's a cap. Yeah. Yes. I think it's just knowing that you have control, that everyone's taken care of, and if it's not being taken care of, then you need to address it. You need to figure out what you got to do to take care of it.
Anybody in particular, any like reason that's like deep down that resonates with you, like why you do this business shit, or just like why you get up every day and make it happen?
Well, my daughter's a huge push.
Yeah,
and my wife. We live a pretty good life. You know what I mean? We get to do a lot of cool things, and I think what drives me the most is, if my daughter plays sports when she's older, like I want to be able to take off and like go to her sports game.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or if she's got like, if she's playing softball out of state, like I'm hopping on a plane, we're gonna fly, and we're there.
We're pulling up to the tournament.
Yeah. So I think that pushes me the hardest to just like grow this thing at a pace to where I can do that.
Yeah.
And we can be financially. Have the financial freedom to do stuff like that and give her a good home and give us a good life, and
hopefully you can pass it on to her.
Yeah, exactly.
Generational
wealth. Yeah. I tell her all the time. I was like, you're gonna run Highline someday. You're gonna be the GM. And you're gonna be in charge of Tyler, and
that's what's up.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. So, but also I just have it like deep down in my gut too that I just want it to work.
Yeah,
you know
it
what
has
I mean?
to.
It just has to work.
There's no other,
yeah. I think it's really important before you start a business to like buy your first house. You know what I mean? Because it's really hard to buy a freaking house when you're a business owner, because you have taxes and everything.
2 years minimum, and how much you make.
Yeah. And so that's been a struggle too. Because I really want to get into real estate after this. And you got to have tax returns, and you got to have money down. And if you have money in other places that you can pull from, I mean, not everyone just has like 150 grand, but a lot of people have 150 grand in their homes.
Right.
And so, I think that buying your first house, whether it be big or small or whatever, is like the first step you should do.
Yeah.
So that you have some sort of a backing, so that you can pull money if you need to, to get it get it to work.
Oh, I see. That's kind of an interesting like perspective, at least from my perspective.
Yeah.
Just because like
different.
a lot of people don't think that way.
Yeah, you know, every situation is different. Like if you're like detailing from the trunk of your car, you know, I'm assuming you probably weren't just like only detailing from the trunk of your car. I'm assuming you maybe had another job or something. No, okay.
You're like send it.
No, I mean I did.
You're like DJing a little bit. You know, that wasn't crazy.
I did have jobs like in the wintertime, but that was still detailing. I made sure I was detailing. I didn't want to.
But you had other sources of income than just like what you're trying to do. That's what I mean. As long as you've got some sort of like, if you've got some sort of like protection, like. I mean,
I see what you're saying.
You know what I mean? Like if you've got something that you can pull from, that's huge. I mean, you don't have to do it that way, obviously, but I think that it's a pretty smart thing to do.
I can see that. Because the reason why I say that is because like a lot of people probably don't even have enough funds to even think about buying a house before they start their business.
People don't think they can buy a house. But you know, there's tons of opportunities. I bought my first house with like, I think it was like $6 or $7 grand.
Yeah.
That's all it cost me out of pocket.
Not too bad.
And you know, you find a home in a rural area, you do a USDA loan and you do 0% down, you get them to pay for half your closing costs. Boom, you got a house. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then, you know, you sit on that house for 2, 3, 4, you know, however long you want to. And then maybe you sell that house and then you can collect the equity out of it. And you were probably going to get at least $100 grand with the rate of appreciation. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So,
and you got your first step in the foot of
you got your first step, dude. Yeah.
Of real estate.
Yeah. I remember being 20, I think I was 23 when I sold the Staten house. And yeah, I didn't even know what $100 grand looked like. You know what I mean? And I got it and it helped me a lot to get this where it needed to.
Oh, I was curious about that.
Yeah. Cause I mean, there was points in building this because I started with such little money out of pocket that you didn't have much room to like lose. So if something bad went wrong, dude, you were
felt
screwed.
it.
Yeah. And so there was points where we were like negative in our account, you know what I mean? And you got to figure that out.
Hey, only the strong survive that.
Only the strong survive, dude. Yeah.
And then you know you're meant to be what you're doing because you overcome all that stuff.
Yeah. But yeah, I think buying a house is a very, very important step to have some sort of financial backing because anything can happen. I mean, really anything can happen.
I want to buy a duplex first. That's my thing.
I feel that
dude.
First,
yeah,
I want to do the whole real estate too afterwards.
Yeah,
after I get stuff going.
I'm really interested in Airbnbs.
That'd be dope.
That's short-term rentals. Yeah, I think that's
your next
you
thing.
Get multiple heads per month.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
That's the next thing, dude. I think having a passive income other than, you know, generating your income from your business and taking that off of you, I think would relieve a ton of stress because you don't got to worry about paying yourself and, you know, depending on however much you pay yourself, you know, if you can make your money other ways with real estate, then
do it.
You know, then do it. Yeah.
I was curious when you started your business, like what was your mission statement then and has it changed at all?
No, I don't think it's changed. I just really want to sell really cool shit and just take care of people, dude. Yeah. I just want to, you know, I want to see the smile. I want to see people happy. I want to see my employees happy. You know, I want a business where everyone likes coming to work. Business, you know, customers like coming in and they like coming in and doing business with us. Right. I don't want to just be like, you know, a business that you just like stop and go and, you know.
Yeah. I want to enjoy it still.
I want to enjoy it. Yeah. And I do, dude. Like nothing is, I mean, no piece of me that's left at all. I think that's really important is you got to love what you do. I do. Yeah. No, I watched some of your other videos and they turned out really good. So J Big is a good friend of mine and I watched that whole video and
he was the first guy. So it was
he's the first guy. Yeah.
First episode.
The OG episode right there.
But no, I think it's cool. I think it's cool that you guys are doing this to get, you know, I think it's going to help a lot of other young entrepreneurs want to, you know, get at least like step foot and make the step to do it.
Right.
I think a lot of them are scared, you know what I mean? But I mean, you could do it with like $1,000, you know what I mean?
Facts, bro.
It doesn't take hardly anything. You just got to do it.
Yeah.
You just got to do it. So you can still work your job and still do it. Just start doing it. You know what I mean?
Something.
Just do something.
Yeah.
So,
but yeah, man, we appreciate you joining us for the show, bro. It was really great hearing your story, learning more about your business and seeing it in person. You know what I'm saying? For the first time. It was a pleasure meeting you, man.
You as well.
Yeah. Make sure you guys subscribe, share, comment, and like this video. And we'll see you guys on the next one.
Yep. Peace.